All right, we should have everyone back.
All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. Hopefully you were able to have some silly conversations with your other cohorts in the room. All right. So other examples of community builders can be found on the YD Toolbox app. As virtual engagement is increasing, you want to check out the conversations tool in the YD Toolbox. At this time, I'd like to invite anyone to share what is your favorite community builder that you have experienced, whether it be it in other staff trainings or a community builder that you use at your club. And if you want to go ahead and share in the chat box, you can go ahead and do so. So any type of community builder that you might use at your club or that you have experienced that you've enjoyed. All right. It's a little quiet this morning. That's okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and move on with our poll. And in the poll, I want to kind of see who has downloaded the YD Toolbox app so far. So poll should be prompted on your screen. Who has downloaded the YD Toolbox app? And if you have, you can click I have, not yet, or I don't know what that is.
We're about 42% there. People voted. About 50–60% of people voted. We're at about 67%. I think voting has slowed down.
All right. So about a little over half have downloaded it. So that's great. So about 55% of you have downloaded. A few of you, 36%, have not yet downloaded the YD Tool app. And a few of you, 9%, do not know what it is. All right. Well, thank you so much for participating in that poll. And so, so in the YD Toolbox is going to provide you some great resources to utilize and examples, especially of community builders. And so you can go to the Google Play Store or the iTunes app, depending if you are an Android or Apple iPhone user. And you can go ahead and search YD Toolbox, and then you can download the app. It's free, and it's a great tool to keep in your back pocket should you need it as you work at the clubs. So to gain the most from this experience, we want to prepare to engage actively. And we can do this by first and foremost, checking your tech. So again, everyone should be muted at this time. But if you do wish to input over the mic, then you can go ahead and unmute yourself and go ahead and speak over the mic. Make sure that you are in the best location possible, away from any distractions like televisions or any other people's music or whatnot. And if we hear someone else's background noise, we will just respectfully mute you and move forward. If you need help at any point in time, please be sure to let us know. You can send a message through the chat box, and then we will try to go ahead and provide support right then and there. Second of all, we want to be sure that we're being kind online. So it is hard to know the tone of what someone has said or typed when we're not in the same place. So we want to be mindful of our words. Please be patient as we are all learning together. We want to be sure that we're listening actively. So it is easy to get distracted when we're not in the same place. So please show respect as you would if we were all in the same room. Limit your digital engagement to at least one device that you are using for this training, and put away any extra devices to minimize other screens. Do your best to be present. We want to be sure we're actively engaging. So we're going to be using, as mentioned earlier, the chat box to ask, and you can use the chat box to ask questions or have input on discussions. We want to participate actively when we break up into our smaller groups. So please be sure that you are engaging as best as possible. Please speak up when the facilitators are asking a question for input. Oftentimes you may be thinking or have input or have a question that others might also have as well. At this time, I want to invite you to type in the chat if there is anything else that needs to be added to create a positive learning environment at this time. Decorations. How do we mean on decorations? And you can unmute yourself, Armando, and just in case to provide clarity. Work as a team with your coworkers, okay? So would that be under the actively engaging? Would we agree that it's the same? Oh, like smiley faces and positive quotes. Okay, I'll do my best to make those adjustments as we move forward. One way we can provide our smiley faces or positive quotes is to be active in the chat and recognize one another as we move forward with our activities. All right, so yeah, so actively engage and being kind. Okay, so I think we are on the same page from the virtual engagements that we currently have on here. So we'll go ahead and move forward. If by chance I misunderstand, just let me know and that way I can backtrack. All right, we're gonna go ahead and transition into our opening activity at the moment. The purpose of the opening activity, picture it, is for participants to discuss an image and what it represents. This will help us practice observing individual details and how they fit together to create a larger picture. In a few moments, you'll be moved back into some breakout rooms to work with one another. While you are in your breakout room, you will be sent a link in the chat, and you want to click on the link that's going to be assigned to your room. And each group will have a different image to look at. As you are viewing the picture that you are assigned, you want to be sure to answer the following questions. What do you think is happening in this picture? And what do you think the picture is that this image is a part of? You want to decide on one person who will report back to the main group after the breakout rooms have ended to go ahead and explain what your group thought about. You'll have 5 minutes in your breakout rooms to view the picture and to discuss it amongst one another, and keeping in mind the 2 questions that you see on the screen. Once we're back in the main room, I'll go ahead and give opportunity for each group to go ahead and present what their thoughts were and discussion that they had during the breakout room. So we'll go ahead and break everyone out to your rooms. And if you have any technical difficulties, please go ahead and let us know in the chat.
Okay, I'm going to open up the rooms. There are 20 rooms. So if you're in room 1 through 5, you'll get picture 1, 6 through 10, picture 2, 11 through 15, picture 3, and 16 through 20, picture 4. So go ahead and enjoy the activity. Hello, everybody. I think breakout rooms are starting to close. Another 15 seconds or so. Welcome back. And we should get a lot of people back in the next couple seconds. All right. Welcome back.
All righty.
We're ready. Whenever you're ready, Laura.
All right, thank you. All right, everybody. Hopefully we've had some good discussion and you were able to have a good discussion on the portion of the picture that you did have. So as mentioned and requested, as you were looking at the picture, I wanted you to consider the two questions. What do you think is happening in this picture? And then what do you think the picture is that this image is a part of? So at this time, I want to invite at least the person that you assigned to go ahead and explain what are your thoughts as you were discussing the portion of the picture to kind of get an understanding of what we saw. So I'll invite someone to volunteer at this moment. If not, we can go in order from group 1 to 20. But if I can go ahead and get a few volunteers to talk.
Okay, hi Laura. I'll go for group 3. Picture 3, sorry.
Uh-oh, I can barely hear you. There we go.
We're doing picture 3.
Oh, hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you a little bit.
Okay. We had picture number 3,
Okay.
and it was a picture of a backward red cap. You could see that it was on a young man. So we said that he was wearing it backwards because it's a style. Maybe he was taking pictures and the front of the cap is going to interrupt him. He's playing a sport was another suggestion. Personally, I wear a cap when it's a hot day.
Okay.
And maybe he was wearing it red because that's his favorite color, or he was coordinating with his outfit.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Well, thank you, Norlinda, for that explanation. So yes, you had the picture of a backwards cap. And so thoughts that came to mind was that he's wearing backwards because of style, or maybe he was taking a picture and it was in the way. And also what came to mind was that it was a hot day, so maybe you were wearing a ball cap as you would as well. So yeah, okay, well, great. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Another group that would like to go ahead and share out what image you had.
Hi, Laura. I can share.
Okay.
So my name is Steven Delgado from the Boys and Girls Club of Far San Juan, really quick. And I had picture 1. So in picture 1, what we believed it to be was like a kind of stormy clouds, because it just looked like really white and fluffy, like a cotton ball even, or like a cloud. And in the background, it has this gray bluish tint. So we kind of figured, maybe there's a storm a brewing, or maybe, some sort of bad weather is happening.
Yeah, for sure. So your image was just zoomed in onto some clouds. And so, yes, we're thinking that it's a cloudy day. There can be storms coming on. And you were detailing like that the cloud color and the sky color was like a bluish gray. So, detailing kind of what you had in front of you. And okay, so thank you, Stephen, for that. I'll go ahead and invite someone who had image number 2 or number 4. What picture did y'all have? What number?
We had image 2, picture 2.
Okay, would you like to provide what your thoughts were for image 2?
Yes, ma'am. It was literally just like a close-up, like an extreme close-up of a jersey of some sort. And we kind of in our minds envisioned possibly a jersey of a young man playing flag football. I don't know why that came to mind, but it did. It looks as if it's a sunny day. because you can obviously see reflection of the sun behind this person, but I mean, it's just an extreme close-up of a jersey, as looks as if they're wearing number 23. We can see a portion of either a last name or possibly the name of the team. I think it's a last name, but I don't know why a young man comes to mind in this picture on a sunny day playing flag football and probably having a jam up time. That's what I
Okay, great.
see.
All right. Well, thank you for that explanation. That's great and full of details there. So thank you so much. All
Yes,
right.
ma'am. Thank you.
And then if I could get one group that had image number 4 to share. Either group 11 through 20 who wants to share out. All right. I don't know if we're, let me check the chat just in case. All right. All right. Hi there from Edinburgh. I think you're muted. Uh-oh.
You're
not-
not
we're
muted in Zoom, but you might have a speaker that's muted on the computer.
Little microphone.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
We had picture 4. Picture 4 was just a really close-up picture of somebody taking a camera a mountain, but it's like really foggy or stormy that day, so it's not very clear as to what he's taking a picture of.
Okay. All right. So we noticed that it's a person holding a camera, maybe by the mountains. It's foggy, but it's not very clear. So, okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and share out what we were looking at as a whole. Let me make adjustments right here real quick. All right. All right. So this is the big picture that each and every one of y'all had a
It's not
portion of.
shared.
Oh, it's not shared. Okay. Hold on. Sorry, y'all, for the technical difficulties. Where are we at? All right. Okay, now do you see an image on the screen?
Yes.
All right, thank you so much. I apologize for that. All right, y'all. So this is the big picture from the small snippets that y'all were looking at earlier today. So we're going to reflect, excuse me. So we're going to reflect as a full group about the experience we just had in our Picture It opening activity. Let me move y'all a little bit over here. Sorry, y'all. Okay. So as a group, we want to reflect on the following questions. So what did it feel like to know that you only have part of the picture and had to decide what the full picture may have been? So we'll go ahead and if you have an input in that question, for that question, you can go ahead and type it in the chat, or you're open to unmute yourself and go ahead and provide input. So what did it feel like to know you only have part of the picture and had to decide what the full picture may have been? Yeah, normally that we nailed part of it, yes. So that's cool. And in what ways do we find ourselves only seeing our individual point of view when working collaboratively with others? So did y'all all share the same vision when you saw the portion of your picture, or did everyone have something different? Right, yeah. So Gwen, we were off about where, but we nailed it with the shirt, yep. And we had to make educated guesses, okay. So sometimes it wasn't very clear. I believe as group 4 was mentioning that, you know, it was kind of hard to make out. All right. And America mentioned that she believes that the gist of the exercise is meant that we're all part of a big picture. Yes, absolutely. And everyone has their own perspectives and views. Yep. And it's not always what we think. Right. And so last but not least, why is it important to consider the big picture when we are working with youth? Why do we think it's important to consider the big picture, especially when we were working with our youth? It provides instant access to someone else's perspective on the picture. Yep. And we must consider their feelings. Yes, of course. The goal and the mission. We never know what's truly going on with the individual. That's a great point, Myra. And Santos says, we learn to think outside the box. Most definitely. Understand where members are coming from, work together and have an open mind to others' point of view. Thank you, Amy. All right. So thank you for everyone's input. And they keep, okay. So we need to see everyone's point of view so we can have a better understanding. Yes. Most definitely. Yes. So this activity introduced you to the central ideas that we will discuss and practice for the remainder of this session. So again, thank you everybody for your participation and engagement for this activity. Let's go ahead and transition to our central ideas and practice so that we can explore the ideas from our opening activity. So there are a variety of experiences that happen across the club day, such as arrivals, snack time, assembly, transitions, programming, activity rotations, and much, much more, right? The day is filled each and every day. This is called overall programming, and the entire range of activities and programs and services available during a club day, similar to the overall picture that we were all building in our opening activity. In this session, we will learn about the targeted programs and high yield activities that take place within overall programming. Targeted programs are sequenced learning experiences with specific objectives for building skills and knowledge through 5 core program areas, chosen to help club youth achieve positive outcomes in one or more of the 3 priority outcome areas, which are academic success, healthy lifestyles, and character and leadership. High yield activities are enjoyable experiences that are hands-on, interactive, and intentionally develop and reinforce the core skills explicitly taught through targeted programs and help youth achieve positive outcomes in the 3 priority outcome areas. Typically, a club or youth center's daily program schedule includes standard blocks of program or standard blocks of time in particular spaces or program areas. So for example, a sample schedule in a learning center for a day may look such as from 2:30 to 3:45 p.m. Members are quietly reading and provided tutoring. From 3:45 p.m. to 4:45 p.m., their members are in the homeroom. And then from 5 to 6 p.m., Ultimate Journey program is occurring for ages 6 to 9-year-olds. So programming refers to targeted programs, locally developed programs, or learning experiences that you design and run, and high yield activities. Elements of a high quality session are used to structure targeted program sessions and high yield activities to ensure consistent implementation of high quality youth development practices. So those 7 elements include a warm welcome, which looks like greeting youth by name and thanking them for being present. This helps us to build a positive environment. Followed by community builders, which are the activities that build trust and supportive relationships among youth and staff through play, fun, and active engagement. Group agreements are decided upon agreements that create physical and emotional safety and provide developmentally appropriate structure with clear limits for behavior. The main activity will be a lesson that is hands-on and interactive, where youth explore concepts and learn new skills. Intentional reflection will help youth to connect what they have learned and identify how they can apply it to other areas of their lives. Providing opportunities to recognize, acknowledge, and encourage youth should also be present throughout the sessions. And ending and transitioning a session with warmth and clarity is just as important as a warm welcome at the beginning of your program time. We're going to walk through an activity together and look at each element in action to understand how the elements work together to support youth engagement. Let's think back to the beginning of our session today. You were all greeted with a warm welcome through virtual greetings, kind remarks, and gratitude for being here today. Then we moved into our community builder, Build a Story. Now, working individually for 2 minutes, I want you to go ahead and write down what you remember about these experiences. And if you have your participants guide, you can turn to page 9. When people write individually, so when people write individually before they share their ideas and thoughts, we call this a WIBIT, which stands for Write It Before You Talk. WIBITs are used to level the playing field and ensure that everyone can participate equally. Some people may process faster than others. So this provides an opportunity for individuals to reflect before they share with the group. So at this time, I want you to consider the following questions and as you WIBIT or write it before you talk, excuse me. So what are some of the things you noticed that I said or did when you joined the session and during the community builder? The second question I want you to consider and write down your thoughts is, how did these actions make you feel? And thirdly, what might this type of welcome and community builder, might this type of welcome and community builder be important to include throughout the club day and in programs? So go ahead and give everyone about 2 minutes to write down your thoughts. Again, if you have your participant guide in front of you, you can go ahead and turn to page 9. If by chance you do not have it, I encourage you just to go ahead and write it down on a piece of paper in front of you. Go ahead and start your 2 minutes now. The program grad has just dropped into the chat, so thank you, Rachel. We have about 45 more seconds to finish up your thoughts and write down your thoughts. If you finished with writing your thoughts, if you want to share in the chat box what your thoughts were, what were some things that you noticed that I did at the beginning of the session and during Community Builder, How did these actions make you feel? And why might this type of welcoming community builder be important to include throughout your club day? And I have a few people already in the chat. So mentioned that I said hello and acknowledged that you were in the group. Yes, welcoming. All right. And we asked how you were feeling at first. I introduced myself. And Norman said it made me feel great. Oops. All right. The one word activity was fun and silly. All right. So the actions at the beginning determine the room. I like how you said that, Melissa. And this is how we should make our kids feel every day. Most definitely, yes. It's something that we want to make sure we're intentional and strive for every single day that our members come into the club. All right, and if anybody wants to unmute themselves and say a few words, you can, or if not, you can continue to enter it into the chat.
Hi, Laura, it's Melissa Foyte.
Hi.
Hi, yes, it's really important how you start off the day or start any session as welcoming and inviting and definitely a good vibe. That's really how it will determine how your day will be with especially our club members. So, you know, if you're in a grumpy mood and not attentive and not willing to really lead your group, then your room, your members are going to feel the same way. They're not going to want to pay attention. They're not going to want to get involved. And so it really sets the room as how you bring yourself into the game.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. My thoughts exactly and my experiences exactly. So yes, how you come into the room and how you introduce yourself and how you start it off can determine how the rest of your program hour is going to go. So thank you, Melissa, for that great explanation. So yeah, so a warm welcome and community builders are important elements. They both contribute to creating a sense of belonging with our members, trusting and supportive relationships between youth and staff through fun, kindness, and play. And so these are fundamental components of the overall club experience that we provide, also called the 5 key elements as well. All right, so thank you everybody for your participation and your thoughts regarding these questions. All right. So remember when we went over the virtual group agreements at the beginning of our time together, and you all had the opportunity to add anything you felt was important to make this a safe and productive time together? So I want to invite everyone to look at the group agreements one more time and see, is there anything else that we want to add on to our group agreements to make this a safe and positive environment? All right. So these group agreements are another practice that creates physical and emotional safety for our youth. So developing group agreements should happen during the first session of a new program or when a new group is forming. Revisiting your group agreements with your youth is an important process in every session and throughout the club day. So agreements provide a sense of structure and standards of behavior among participating members, which leads to emotional safety throughout the day. Now we'll have a chance to explore what an engaging main activity could be. So in a few moments, we're going to play a video clip of an example and a short main activity featuring photography. So as we watch this video, I want you to go ahead and think about the following questions, and then you can go ahead and turn to your participants guide on page 10 and answer those questions. And again, if you don't have it right in front of you, you can write it down so you can later go ahead and place it in your participants guide. So as you're looking at the video, think about the following questions. What are some different learning modalities that could be included in a main activity like this, like the one you're going to view? Or what kinds of skills can youth learn from participating in a main activity like this? And in what ways would a staff member be able to provide assistance during this activity? And the questions will also be in the chat, but we'll also in the chat just in case you want a reference to it. And we can go ahead and show the video at this time.
Hey guys, it's Cade. Today I'm going to be showing you guys about forced perspective photography. Forced perspective photography is an optical illusion you can make with your camera. It can make things that are small seem really big, or vice versa. You can make things that are big really small. It all depends on where you're putting the camera. So I have this little toy right here, and I have Nathan, who is obviously bigger than this toy. So I'm going to make it look like this toy is bigger than Nathan. So what I'm going to have him do is go out, far out this way, and I'm going to set this toy right on the ground. So now that I'm here, I want to make sure that the camera itself is as close to the ground as possible, because you want to make sure it looks like they're both standing relatively close to each other. Now I want to make it look like he is right next to the toy and the toy is going to squish him. Just like that. And now I'm going to take a photo. So just a few things to remember. Make sure both objects or whatever you're shooting has enough light on it to make sure you can see it clearly. You can use any objects in your house, anybody around, your family, your friends. You can move them around to make sure things look just right. And remember to have fun and be creative. We hope you enjoyed this project. We'd love to see your forced perspective photos. You can send it to us right here, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you for that video. All right, so just double checking. Can y'all still see my screen on?
No, you'll need to reshare.
Reshare it. Okay.
Again, and
All right. How about now? You should be able to see the practice central ideas #1.
Yes, we see it.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. So at this time, I'm going to allot you about 2-3 minutes to go ahead and write in your participant's guide or to consider the questions on the screen and take some time to create your answers on your thoughts as you're viewing this video. So what are some different learning modalities that you could that could be included in the main activity like this one? What kinds of skills can youth learn from participating in a main activity like the one you saw? And then in what ways would a staff member be able to provide assistance during this activity? And go ahead and put the timer for 3 minutes and go ahead and write it down. We have about 2 more minutes just to allow everyone to wrap up their thoughts on these questions. If you have already answered these questions and you would like to share your thoughts, if you want to go ahead and share it in the chat box, you're more than welcome to. If you want to come off of mute, you can also do that as well. All right, so it looks like it sparked some inspiration. So it looks like a fun activity with some great ideas. Yes, it is definitely doable to provide to youth. What kind of skills do we think youth can learn from participating in a main activity such as the one we saw? So photography skills can be improved, right? With easy activity, yes. So it gives it a little bit of a challenge, but not too big. And can spark some creativity from people. And it can teach how to innovate and think outside the box. Yes, love it. And it's, yeah, this can be great for teens, most definitely. Remember, Linda, I'm an amateur photographer and this taught me something. Yeah, it taught you something different. Yeah. And you can pass it on to your members as well. Yes, great. Yeah, because even though, you know, we're adults, learning never stops. So anything that we learn new that we want to pass on to our club members, that's always a great way to do so. All right, and then we have about 10 more seconds to wrap up our thoughts, and then we'll go ahead and move forward. Oh, I like that heart. All right. So thank you for your engagement in this sample main activity that we just completed. So as we discussed earlier, the main activity in the lesson is hands-on and interactive, where youth can explore explore concepts and learn new skills. So the theme or the goal of a main activity will differ based on the program and the age groups that you are working with. And YDPs can support the knowledge and skill building by telling youth what the activity will entail and how it will help them grow. So it is important for youth development professionals to provide assistance when needed and encourage youth to keep trying. Yes, and Jennifer Cox mentioned that it offers empowerment. Yes. And Randolph, teach perspective how to look at some things in another way. Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much. All right. After every main activity, it is important to reflect on how to help youth connect what they have learned and identify how they can apply it in other areas of their lives. So we're gonna practice our own reflection at this time. So why do we think an activity like this, like the one we just did, would be relevant and helpful for youth? And how might you want to adapt this activity to be inclusive for all youth? Go ahead and you can enter in your thoughts in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself, you're more than welcome to do so as well. So again, why do you think an activity like the one we just did would be relevant and helpful for youth? And how might you want to adapt this activity to be inclusive for all youth?
I think that we can use it in any program class, whether it's triple play, arts and crafts, brain games. We can use this activity in any of those classes. We need to think outside of the box. You know,
Right.
Triple play, you're thinking probably basketball skills or soccer skills. But you can take the camera out there for someone who isn't sports minded, and maybe they can do something along those lines with the sport, with the volleyball, with the basketball, with the soccer ball.
Yeah.
And do some of those pictures that they did.
Mm-hmm.
Imitate them.
I love that explanation. So yeah, so we know that not all members are going to be love sports and want to play and you know, be engaged in, you know, certain program areas, but thinking as staff of how can we adapt and still engage the member in the same programs that we're utilizing, but doing something, doing a different kind of activity. So if we're not able to, after all efforts to motivate them to attempt a particular activity, then yes, thinking of alternates, thinking outside the box as to how we can still engage a member and have them as part of the group. Yeah, and it helps with creativity with something as simple as just photography. So in thinking about that, you know, with your other programs that you do, with any other activities or any other skills that you might want to build upon with your members. And so why do you think reflection helps youth learn and grow? When you reflect, how does it help, and how will we think that it's going to help our members to grow? And you can write in the chat or you can unmute yourself. So when we think that as we're providing these activities to our members, why is it important to give them a few minutes to reflect and how to connect what they have learned to their everyday lives? So Marcy says it shares the ability to share ideas and learn what others got out of it. Okay, so yes, it gives time for members to discuss or express what they learned and what they got out of the programs that you provided. Lessen the group brain and increase personal thoughts. Yes, exactly. So it, in a sense, it kind of challenges them to think about their own opinions versus kind of following with the crowd. So sometimes they may think they have an unpopular opinion and don't want to say, so they follow. And it gives them an opportunity to just really reflect. All right. So the last key element to focus on is recognition. Providing opportunities to recognize, acknowledge, and encourage youth supports their growth and development. So at this time, let's recognize each other for all the work and thinking that we have done so far with a gratitude chat. All right. So as you're placing your recognition in the chat, think of one word that captures something you saw someone do in a session today during your breakout time, which you feel grateful for. An example could be a person, you really noticed that person was listening, that they were thoughtful, or that they were just extremely kind. So think about as you were in your breakout room or anytime during this training, one word that captures something that you noticed someone do during this session. Humor, all right, yeah. Being helpful. Kind words and ideas, all right. Perceptive. Participation. Yes. Patience. Yes, patience is so important. Having an open mind. All right. Well, if you're still placing something in the chat, please feel free to do so. And thank you for your participation. So every high quality session will have these 7 elements: a warm welcome, a community builder, a group agreement, a main activity, reflection, recognition, and a transition. It is important to be sure that each step is intentional, just like we practiced today. Now that we have learned what high quality sessions look like, let's dig a little deeper into targeted programs. Targeted programs are sequenced learning experiences with specific objectives for building skills and knowledge through 5 core program areas, chosen to help club youth achieve positive outcomes in one or more of the 3 priority outcomes. In addition to including the elements of a high quality session, To be effective, targeted programs have the following 7 attributes and as they follow. So targeted programs are planned. They are designed to achieve stated goals and objectives in a core program area. They are designed to build upon existing knowledge and skills, are conducted for a specific audience, are sequenced, meaning that they are conducted over a specific period of time using multiple lessons in a certain order. They use specific delivery methods, and they measure and evaluate the extent participants achieve goals and objectives. Most of Boys and Girls Clubs of America's national programs are targeted programs because they are designed to help youth achieve positive outcomes in our priority outcome areas. Some of these targeted programs may include Triple Play, Smart Girls, Smart Moves, Passport to Manhood, and much, much more. In the Program Basics Blue Book, Boys and Girls Club of America has organized all targeted programs into 5 core program areas, which include leadership and service, education, the arts, health and wellness, and sports and recreation. Each core program area has a variety of targeted programs to serve different needs, interests, and age groups of club youth. So Smart Girls session, to better explain or to give an example with Smart Girls, in this Smart Girls sessions for 8 to 10-year-olds girls begins by asking them to define core elements of Smart Girls, which are respect, trust, confidentiality, and effective communication. In the next session that follows, it helps girls to identify some of their unique characteristics that support development of self-esteem and life skills in girls. The program contains 3 sets of 10 sessions for girls ages 8 to 10, 11 to 13, and 14 to 18. While each session has unique activities, the themes build upon one another. Another example can be Summer Brain Game as a targeted program. So it uses different types of individual, small group, and large group activities to emphasize discussion and reflection, which allows staff to determine whether youth are gaining knowledge and building skills. You'll now get an opportunity to learn about one of Boys and Girls Clubs of America's targeted programs in a core program area. So as a group, you'll decide on one program to pitch to everybody else in the main group. So we're gonna go ahead and move into our practice for targeted programs. The purpose of this exercise is to learn what national targeted programs are available to youth development professionals and why they are important and relevant to youth. So in a few moments, you are going to be split up into breakout rooms one more time. And we're gonna go ahead and allow you about 20 minutes to work with one another. And you're gonna choose a targeted program from the core area that your group is assigned to. And then you can look to the Youth Development Resource Catalog handout that we can also drop in the chat as needed. You want to read the goals and features of the targeted programs, and then prepare how you will pitch your program within your breakout group for, then you're going to go ahead and prepare your pitch as a group so that you can go ahead and share it out as a group in the main room. So you'll create a compelling argument for why everyone should run your particular program by including the following points. So how your selected program could include the 7 elements of a targeted program, and how your selected program connects to the 3 priority outcome areas. You can go ahead and turn to page 13 of your participant guide, where you can go ahead and write down your talking points. Again, you want to share your ideas amongst your group in your breakout room, and then vote on a person who will go ahead and speak up during explanation time in the main room. Are there any questions at this time to the instructions? All right, if you do have any questions during your time in breakout rooms, please let us know, and then we'll be ready to help you out.
All right, I've opened the rooms and set the timer for 20 minutes. Angie's iPhone, you should be assigned to a room. You might need to click the link to join the breakout. I'm going to
select a targeted program to pitch out. And in the essence of time, what we're going to do is a little bit differently. So not everybody's going to be able to present, which is okay, but I will ask for volunteers from each core program area to go ahead and share out their pitch. So we'll give it about 30 seconds or so to go ahead and pitch your program area, and we can go ahead and move from there. So can I go ahead and get a volunteer group to go first? Or if not, we can go ahead and go down the line, beginning with leadership and service. All right, any of my groups, either 1 through 4, can provide what they thought about during their breakout room? You want to share what your core program area was and the target program that you selected. A few more seconds for leadership and service to provide their pitch. Might have technical difficulties. Let's go ahead and move to see groups either 4 through 8 who had education. If you want to go ahead and share out what your pitch was, what core program area, or your core program area of the education area, and what target program you selected.
Hi, Laura. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I understand that we were education, but it was hard to get everyone to participate. It was
Okay.
only 2 of us talking, and so
Okay.
I'm only going to speak for myself.
Okay.
Personally, this summer I am teaching brain games,
Okay.
which does hit all the targeted programs, the 7 elements, because it is planned. We have to develop a lesson plan from the curriculum. We have stated goals. We do build up on existing knowledge. We do have a specific audience every hour. It is sequenced. There is a specific delivery method if we're using that curriculum correctly. And we can measure and evaluate if the children did learn anything by the fun that they're having, or if they can repeat the lesson themselves and talk to their parents about what they learned. Then they did learn something from us.
Wonderful. Yeah. So most definitely. And yes. So summer reading what does connect to all of the 7 attributes to targeted programs. And how does summer bringing connect to the 3 priority outcomes?
Okay, that part I wasn't sure what the 3 priority outcomes were. Sorry, I don't have the guide in front of me.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So priority outcomes were academic success, healthy lifestyles, and character and leadership.
we are building up, we are building on existing knowledge. The second one was what, I'm sorry?
With healthy lifestyles, how might healthy lifestyles be incorporated into summer brain game?
I'm trying to think of some of the lessons that I'm doing with the kids.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
And that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. So as you work through summer brain game, you might see and notice that yes, there is a connection to healthy lifestyles. So of course, all of this is a work in progress. So if you don't know it right at this moment, that is totally okay. And then with character and leadership, of course, with summer brain game, you know, as we're teaching out the curriculums to our members, you know, you are able to see how other members might take initiative or start to show their leadership skills during those program times.
I love it when the kids are kind of shy and quiet when they come in.
Yeah.
And I do believe that they pick up on the leader, which is us. And so after a while, they're not shy anymore. They're loud and proud like myself.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, you see that growth and you see that progress. So that's always a win. So thank you so much for providing your input on education. All right, so can I invite someone from the arts to provide what their pitch was and what targeted program you might have selected? And at this time, if health and wellness or sports and rec want to go ahead and chime in, you're more than welcome to go ahead and unmute yourself and provide your pitch for program.
Hi, Laura, it's Melissa. I know we had the arts. Unfortunately, didn't have some communication with the group.
Okay.
So I know we did pick kind of getting the teen, we targeted teens, and it was going to be to have them kind of target the area of drawing, you know.
Okay.
So just of course as beginners, you know, to draw. I know we talked about kind of how to, you know, engage them and keeping them active, getting them away from the electronics.
Right, for sure.
Yeah, and but that's pretty much how far we got.
Okay, no worries. So yeah, so you always want to be sure to reference when it comes to targeted programs, or if it's an internal program that you have developed at your club per se, then you can go ahead and reference to the resource guide that will have the targeted programs listed on there for each of the core areas. And so always remember that whether it's in the arts, health and wellness, sports and rec, education, leadership and service, that you want to keep those 7 attributes from targeted programs always in mind. So ensuring that, you know, staff are well aware that they have to make a plan and make sure that, you know, they understand what those expectations and requirements are. And of course, you know, as we look and select the program areas that we are working with, you know, seeing what is the end goal that we're trying to work through and what objectives we're going to work through. And of course, as mentioned earlier, you know, trying to build upon what pre-existing skills members already have, and then of course, teaching new skills to your members. When we think about our programs, as you mentioned, you know, in the arts, and if we're wanting to teach them about drawing, you know, selecting, yes, what age range you're going to work with. So if you're working with the teens, you want to be conscious that you're not going to necessarily teach them basic drawing points that how you might teach to 6 to 9-year-olds. So you always want to make sure that the program plan or activity is always going to be developed and appropriate for that particular age range.
Right.
And you know, having an idea of, you know, how much or what you want everyone to learn, and then kind of what you're looking for towards the end of your program implementation. So, so yeah, so just keeping those things in mind. And like I mentioned, you know, it can be based out of those targeted programs that you use through BGCA, or if your club has created internal programs, you want to go ahead and keep those in mind. All right. So in essence of time, is there one more group that wants to go ahead and share out what they discussed amongst your groups? We heard from education, we heard from the arts. Anybody?
I guess I can start. I can go ahead and talk about, I mean, our group, we spoke about leadership and service. And when I saw that, the first thing I thought was, you know, our team program, like junior staff, the career launch and Torch Club, Keystone, things like that. So we chose junior staff. That's something that I know our club hasn't really let go, not even during COVID time. So we try to involve the teens as much as we can. So I kind of just let them know about what our clubs are doing at the moment to try to bring the teens back, try to grow our team program again, our junior staff program. So, but yeah, I mean, we just spoke about that. I know what we're starting new this summer is we were very lucky that an assistant principal, high school principal, reached out to us and is voluntarily doing, is going to do workshops for our teens, you know, to prepare them for the workforce industry. So they hosted an interview workshop, getting them ready for their interviews. And, you know, these workshops are going to continue throughout the summer, and, you know, reaching out also to our counselors, because right now I think high schoolers are requiring so many volunteer hours at the end of each year in order for them to either get awards or whatever. And I recently found out that with the charter school that we work with, their kids are able to apply to small scholarships that range from $1,000 to $5,000 if depending on how many hours they made. So those counselors are helping them apply for those smaller scholarships. So when they graduate, they have some type of funds and not just either depend on, you know, financial aid or loans or mom and dad.
Right.
So,
okay. Awesome. And yeah, so in thinking with junior staff, and I believe, if memory serves me correctly, that there's curriculum behind it. And so what I get from what you're explaining to me, you have outside entities that are, you know, and partnerships that are helping to kind of help build upon what junior staff is all about, right? So giving members those opportunities. And so keeping in mind that with junior staff, you have your particular sessions or lessons to provide, and, you know, trying to build upon the skills of each member. And so in working with your schools and providing the workshops, you know, you're able to connect, you know, academic success for one, character leadership, because you are able to provide those community service opportunities. And then of course with healthy lifestyles. So, you know, it's building upon a member's confidence and ability to get out into the workforce, and have different opportunities for later on as they graduate high school. So that's wonderful to hear. So yeah, making those connections outside of what the actual curriculum can be is always a plus. So thank you for your input. All right. So again, thank you everybody for your input on your pitches. I know we didn't get to everybody, but hopefully you have listened to some different examples and ideas that you can go ahead and refer back for your particular clubs. All right. So on the same page, on page 13 of the participants guide, and even if you don't have the participant guide in front of you, I want you to take a few moments just to think about the following questions and to reflect upon. So what is something new that you learned about targeted programs during the pitches that you did here? And how might you learn and grow through the program that your team pitched? And then what else would you need to know about these programs to facilitate them? So if there's any targeted programs that were new to you that you were not aware of, what else might you need to do in order to be able to follow back up and see how you can go ahead and implement it at your own club? And if you want to share your thoughts, you can go ahead and enter it into the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself, you can go ahead and do so. So as you reflect right quick, you know, think about these 3 questions, and you can go ahead and share out if you wish to. So Boys and Girls Clubs of America has dozens of targeted programs for all ages and interests. And there are also program resources from other great youth development. Okay, so America chimed in. So I think Boys and Girls of America provides multiple amazing programs for youth and teens to grow in many areas and aspects of their life. Most definitely, yes, I can. I think we can all agree to that statement. So yeah. So if you do not already, if you have not already done so, you can go to bgca.net and register to gain access. And if you have any trouble with this step, you can contact your club director or supervisor so they can get access to the bgca.net site, which is where you'll have access to those targeted program resources. Once you log on to bgca.net, you can look through all the different programs and resources available under the program tab, and all program resources are organized under each of the 5 core program areas. And you can also find all of the program basic resources on bgca.net. So be sure that you make time to check out these great and free resources that are available to all YDPs. So I want to also make mention, Norma Linda mentioned, what newcomers need to know is that there are curriculums for each national programs. And if they need additional resources, they can check out the YD toolbox. Yes, ma'am. So thank you for referencing back to that toolbox. There's resources all over the place for YDPs to utilize to go ahead and promote. And there is a vast variety of different interests that you can go ahead and pull from. Yes, and to sign up for Spillett University courses as they are free. So in order to do so, you must have a bgca.net account. So please be sure to check in with your supervisor if you don't already have one. All right, and then yes, BGCA has multiple tools, programs, services, and other resources to help out both staff and youth for everyone to benefit from. Awesome, thank you so much for that input. All right, so if you have your participants guide in front of you, you want to turn to page 14 and 15. And the purpose of this exercise is to outline specific commitments based on what you've learned today and to identify opportunities to put these learnings into practice back at your club or youth center. So at this time, I want you to, to think about, did I move forward? Sorry, 1 second. Okay. To think about and list a minimum of 1 thing per central idea that you're committed to doing to put into practice at your clubs. So for example, what is 1 way that you would modify your own programs to reflect the 7 key elements to a high quality session? I'm gonna go ahead and give you a few moments, about a few 30 seconds to a minute to go ahead and consider these questions and write it down in your participant's guide if you have it in front of you. And if you're still writing after the 1 minute mark, then we'll go ahead and you can go back later on to finish it out. So think about 1 central idea that you're committed to doing to put into practice. So if you already provide particular targeted programs, are you following the 7 attributes to targeted programs as mentioned and as we've learned in this session? Or the high quality sessions? All right. All right. So remember that the learning objectives were by completing the session, participants would identify the elements of a high quality session, recognize programs available from Boys and Girls Clubs of America and how to access program resources, and develop an implementation plan to commit to incorporating the elements of a high quality session and targeted programs. I encourage you to work on page 16 of your participant's guide and go ahead and reflect back of what did you learn today about building blocks of programming? Why is it important to incorporate the building blocks of programming into your program area? And how can you support other staff at your club or youth center to incorporate building blocks of programming in their program areas? So again, I encourage you to do so afterwards and go back to update and provide reflection. Here are a few links for helpful resources that you can go ahead and look to. Again, some are through bgca.net and some are through other websites, but you can find program basics, the blueprint, club experience blogs, Spillett Leadership University. Again, you must have a bgca.net account to access. There are also links to virtual program resources, safety resource, and free online trainings. And if you are interested in becoming a certified national trainer, there are also linked with information of how to do so. All right. So after today's training, you'll receive 0.2 Academy Learning credits for completing this session. Again, please be sure that you do have a bgca.net account and in order for you to see your transcripts on there. Thank you everyone for your participation and commitment to support all of our youth. And thank you for your patience and your grace. Thank you.
Laura, thank you for all the information you covered today. I know 2 hours is not enough time to go over all these specific items, but we have come to our lunch hour. So everyone, please take your lunch hour. We will be back promptly at 2 o'clock with child and club safety. So everyone enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.